Please be seated. Ready? Yep.
We're short an attorney.
Okay.
The only way he can get you to come back in was to go to the bathroom.
Seems even colder in here today. Seems like it. Ready? For the record, both assistant state attorneys are present, all for defense counsel and Mr. Rodgers. Mr. Rodgers, is there anything you'd like to say prior to sentencing, sir?
No, sir.
Okay.
Rodgers has, I do have one thing to offer, Your Honor. Having sat through this trial, handling this trial for these many years now, and also then Mr. Sievers' trial and the result and outcome, I would like to point out that the verdict in Mr. Rodgers' case does speak volumes. While he was convicted of second-degree murder, it was without a weapon, and he was acquitted of the conspiracy. The jury specifically found that he had no weapon. I would like to ask the court to take that into consideration, as well as take into consideration the fact that Mr. Wright, who admittedly swung a hammer and killed Dr. Sievers, is set to be sentenced to 25 years. The disparity in this is significant, and it gives the appearance of being punished for going to trial, which of course we would not, is not just. So I would also remind the court, in addition to the testimony presented today, which I understand we're not at a penalty phase, but there was information that we thought would be in the best interest to present. We asked the court to consider that, along with some of the testimony regarding from Ms. Schumacher as to Mr. Rodgers being a good father, loving children, her children that were not his, not him having children, him having a child, excuse me. We would ask that the court not sentence Mr. Rodgers to life in prison, not sentence him as a PRR, but follow the guidelines in this case and sentence him to a lesser term of years. Thank you.
Okay. I normally don't say much at these things, but given what you said, I feel compelled to. He's found guilty as a principal. I don't think you can compare all three of them. All three of them have different patterns. The state, since the beginning of time, has always cut deals with one defendant, and whether it's fair or not, or whether it's to get to the other people who are culpable as well, that's their business. It's different than the other two. Mr. Rodgers and Mr. Sievers have been found guilty of different offenses, so they can't really be compared either at this point. So they're all three separate and distinct, and I don't think they can really be compared as far as punishment goes. I guess it is somewhat of a conflicted verdict, given the fact he's been found guilty of murder as a principal, but without a weapon, but a weapon clearly was used from the evidence. And I don't know if that was an attempt by the jury to, because they feel your client was taken advantage of because he's younger, or they felt he wasn't as culpable or as involved, or that they didn't like the fact that Mr. Wright got second-degree murder because there was no mention of a weapon, but the mention of what his charge was and what he pled to was mentioned. However, I will say I've been on a felony docket off and on now for a total of almost a decade, and this is probably one of the most horrific. I can only think of two that might be worse that I've actually had, and that's arguable. And the fact that even if it is as a principal, that he picked those suits out And he got the duct tape and he drove all the way down to Florida with that given time to either bag out of the plan or to not be involved anymore. He didn't. I am going to sentence him as a PRR. I am going to adjudicate him guilty of both counts. For the misdemeanor, it's credit for time served. There is $413 in court cost, a $50 public defender application fee, $98,015.14 in actual cost for the defense, $15,000 in attorney's fees for the defense, $15,551.28, was it?
Yes, sir.
Cost of prosecution, all other fines and fees that are ordered by the clerk that are mandatory will be ordered as well. I'll order and reserve on any restitution. I think a life sentence is warranted, and as a PRR is warranted, and so that it's clear on appeal, even if I didn't do the PRR, given this fact pattern and how horrendous it was, I think, and his involvement, I think a life sentence, even without the PRR, would be warranted. Sir, you have 30 days to file notice of appeal with the clerk of court right here in this courthouse. If you think this is an illegal sentence, we're going to take a set of your prints and your DNA as well. Anything further from the state? From the defense?
We were asked the court to appoint the temp sergeant.
Yes, ma'am. You'll forward an order? Okay, granted. And if your client, if we have time and the bailiffs think they can accommodate him, he can have a moment with his brother before they take him back after they're done printing him.
Thank you.
And he gets all his credit as well. For the record, that is 1,389 days. Good luck to you, sir. Yes. Nothing further? Nothing further? Sure, absolutely. Do we need your client or? Okay. We'll be in recess. Good seeing you again. How's it going? They didn't want them sent to collections, so.
He looks lovely, but in pain.
Not upset you.